Many professionals, architects, engineers, auditors, lawyers, designers, artists, and financing institutions have put in a lot of wisdom supporting us in many ways. As a school, we are surrounded by educators from the Ministry of Education, other public and independent schools, the international education field, post-secondary partners, and education consultants who help us on different levels. There is also an important sector that do not normally come among us, but today we invited them. They represent and protect the interests of our international students and parents. They are the Vancouver diplomatic officers of many countries where our students come from. To give you an example, they contact the Canadian immigration when some young students got stuck at the border service. They help to notarize and authenticate many important documentations. They visit our school and talk to our students and to encourage them. So I'm going to introduce our guests one by one, especially those on stage and some on the floor. And please rise so that the students and parents at the back can see you. I'm going to first introduce the very important guests on the stage. We just don't have enough seats on the floor, so we invited them on the stage, but they need to be well seen and recognized, and I really like parents during the tea ceremony to walk up and talk to them. So from the first one on my right-hand side here, Mr. Doug Scott, he's the architect, the mastermind of this whole building and design. Mr. Scott. Council Maria Jimeni Espitia, Counselor for Columbia. Mr. Peter Froese, Executive Director, the Federation of Independent School Associations. Deputy Consul General Akira Ichida, Consulate of Japan. Now, a very young one here, Zhang Henry Wai, Prime Minister of the Bodwell Student Parliament. So, he's a very young Prime Minister, still a long way to go. Mr. Alan Schroeder, Director of Global Advancement, Ministry of Education. Mr. Paul Yin, President and co-founder of Bodwell High School. Mr. Craig Keating, he sits in the middle for a reason, Acting Mayor of City of North Vancouver. Vice Chancellor Xiao Chen, Consulate General of China. Elizabeth Brin, Senior Manager, BC Council of International Education. Now, of course, Elder Bob Baker of Squamish Nation, our very lovely neighbor. Councillor Peter Lambert from the District of North Vancouver, a little farther sitting next to us. But thank you for coming. Mr. Stephen Gubi and Council Fidel Herrera, Councilor from Mexico. You have a lot of fans among our students, including Constable Rockhill, I'll introduce later. Mr. David Webb, President, Darwin Construction. He supervised and is responsible for the entire construction. So if you have a question, ask him. Now, there are other, a lot of important people that help the school. As I said, city staff. I have not seen Ms. Emily Adden. Are you here? Yes, Emily. Director of Community Services at the City of North Vancouver. And Mr. Michael App, Director of Planning. Yes, over there. Fire Chief Dan Pistilli. Fire Chief is a very important people in the city, please. You can recognize him in his distinguished uniform. And don't pull the fire alarm unless there's a real urgent fire. Otherwise, Chief will come after you. And Constable Rockhill, I just mentioned, our police school liaison officer. Now, I must introduce other professionals who work closely with Bodwell. I might not have greeted everyone, but I'll see if they are in here. Mr. Paul Fairweather, our lawyer, not here yet. Traffic is really bad. Miss Joyce Lee, Miss Joyce Lee is here, also our lawyer who helped Bodwell a lot. Mr. Patrick Chen, our auditor, not here yet. And Ms. Melanie Ma from the Royal Bank, helping us make this work. Now, there are other important friends and partners in the community, and I have Mr. Tianhua Tim Tang from the Taiwan Economic and Cultural Office. Mr. Tang. And I have the veterans who are always very close to our school community, Mr. Fry and Mr. Anderson from the North Shore veteran. They are in special uniform. Many of you know them and you have taken a lot of pictures with them, but if you need more pictures, you can go after them and take pictures. And of course, Mr. Stephen Smith, now he has a new capacity as chair of the North Vancouver Public Library, our former principal. Mr. Smith. Mr. John Montgomery, education consultant, have been very helpful to Bodwell, Mr. Montgomery. And then Mr. Wade Baker, father of a distinguished alumni, Sierra Tessa Baker, Mr. Wade Baker. Ms. Faye Hall's youth match, she was on stage. She's actually former coordinator of First Nations Education Center on the North Shore. Mrs. Maggie Yip and Mr. Kelly Yip, they are here. Mrs. Maggie Yip is the founding chair of Success, a very well-established social service agency, and Mr. Kelly Yip, they are both members of Success and Foundation. Now, I also know that Mr. Alex Yalouz has said from the North Shore Chamber of Commerce is coming. Are you here? Oh, yes, sorry, it's Miss Alex Yalouz. Thank you for coming. Now, our neighbor across the street, Thomas Haas is not here yet, is he? He's busy making coffee and chocolate. Then Mr. from Level 10 Fitness, are you here, Mr. Kyle Guy? Not yet here, okay. But I must tell you, there are so many partners in the community who are really, supporting the construction of the school, and now it's coming to fruition. We are so happy. And then again, on behalf of everybody, please, one of our 6 L's in the school is educating our students to lead. And what is more important, when you see distinguished community leaders around us, you see with your own eyes how they walk the talk and how they do things, how they serve the community. And I really like our young students to learn from their example and really be leaders of tomorrow. And parents, please stay and mingle and talk to them when we have the tea reception. Thank you, everyone.